Hello and welcome back to another movie review. As always, I'm Kelly, and I just got out of Charlie's Angels. Whoa, it's crap. Movie over. I'm gonna get back to Pokemon. I know I can't do that, but I really want to with this one. I hate this type of movie in general because this isn't a film. This is a political statement. This is nothing. It's boring. It's stupid. And honestly, I'm going to be called a sexist because I don't like the film because, again, it's a political message, not a film. And I know I say this every single freaking time, but I'm not starved for female protagonists inside of my stories. I don't just live in my little bubble of Hollywood. I come from the world of anime. There's so many female protagonists out there that, yes, it is still dwarfed by guys, but it's a hell of a lot more representative there than it is stateside. So I don't really feel like I need a movie like this. And I don't feel like anyone else does either, because this is the kind of movie that makes execs think that female-led movies don't work. Because it was so focused on being a political statement, it forgot to be a good movie first. Okay, I'm coming off a lot harsher than I probably mean to. It's just that I hate having these types of arguments with people, and I feel like this whole movie is just that argument. It's just the same as Agent Coulson from the Marvel series saying that it's all those fat, whiny kids who are just sitting in their basements who don't like change. No, it's your movie is garbage and you know it. Stop trying to sell us a fucking turd. And again, I put examples all around me of really good female-led films. And yes, that includes Ghost in the Shell over in the shoulder there, including that one over there, which is in the far shoulder. There. These films do come out. They exist both in the anime and inside of the regular Western world. And it just feels like this movie is there. Okay, in order to actually talk about this, I'm going to actually have to talk about it, spoilers and stuff. Needless to say, my personal thoughts on it, this movie is completely worthless, and I don't think you should go see it. Period. You can guess what my ranking is actually going to be at the end of this film if you like, but those are my general thoughts on it without getting into spoilers. But going into the spoilers, talk about the good. I use the term good loosely because in this film it feels more like what's done competently. Because there's a couple performances and a couple scenes inside of this where it genuinely does feel like the idea is trying to get across that this is a team of, well, women who are out trying to save the world, although not really. What they're stopping is a freaking bomb. That's it. Like a small-scale bomb that can only hurt someone if it's within 12 feet of them. Yes, it's more of a big deal if this thing goes to market with this flaw, but if it's so easily hackable like the movie keeps trying to tell us it is, then I'm sorry, why does the bad guy in this go through so much trouble to get the one hacker, Naomi Scott, to actually, hack it for him? It doesn't make sense. I'm jumping the gun a bit, but there's some sequences where the team are just like sitting for a briefing or at the start of some missions. The opening scene in general is genuinely pretty good. It does establish the team dynamics. They're not really a team yet until like way later in the movie. It's one of those movies where you have to see all of the people come together and do their stuff. But there are sequences there where they're just sitting down talking. It could be a little bit better with some better writing and some jokes. A little less of the line-orama, oh, I can one-up you on pop culture references. But other than that, these sequences do establish their characters, and I find that those scenes are genuinely just the best part of the movie. The scenes where they're sitting around talking and doing nothing. I guess I am sexist, aren't I? But then we gotta get into the actual problems with this movie. The genuine bad. This movie's direction, writing, and acting are subpar at best. Writing-wise, this is just essentially trying to turn Charlie's Angels into Kingsman. And doing it pretty badly. Kingsman played really tongue-in-cheek. It really felt like it was satirizing the genres, with the first one being, the spy genre, the sequel being the superhero genre. Admittedly, the sequel wasn't as good as the first one, but it felt like it was still trying to give something good with a little wink-wink, nudge-nudge attached to it. This just feels like Kingsman if they tried to play it straight. And it doesn't work. I mentioned how bad the writing was earlier. A lot of the scenes feel extremely flat. They're either super exposition heavy, or it really does feel like the actresses are trying to one-up each other with their comments back and forth with each other. And none of the actresses give enough personality to their characters for this to be entertaining. Again, the best is probably Naomi Scott in this movie, and this is by far the worst thing I've seen her in. And I saw her in Aladdin, and Aladdin was pretty bad. And the writing cannot stop reminding you that this is a team of women out here beating you over the head with the fact that these people are women and fighting the evil, oppressive men, and just, we get it. The other line, every other scene has in some way an evil jackass guy, usually white and old, saying something stupid, and then they have all of the women, haha, we're so much better than you, yet they can't hit the broadside of a barn with their gun, even though they're supposed to be super trained spies. Oh yeah, and the big male assassin who's the bad guy inside of this keeps kicking all of their asses. Just saying. And to try to distract you from a lot of this, I guess you could call it, is there's a lot of references to the previous Charlie's Angels one. Now, the references to the TV show, I'm not really as aware of, but the original two movies, yeah, they make a pretty funny one, actually, right at the beginning. Yeah, Patrick Stewart inside of this is actually supposed to be the original John Bosley. And they basically said that all the previous Charlie's Angels things are in canon with this movie, and they do like a slideshow at Patrick Stewart's retirement, and they just literally like superimpose his face on all of the male Bosley pictures from the original TV show and the 2000 and 2004 movies, and it was horribly bad, and it knows it, and I think it was the point. Patrick Stewart's face on Bill Murray's body was probably the single funniest thing I've seen this year. And you're probably wondering why I didn't mention this in the good section, and it's because it basically throws that goodwill from little nudges and nods like that right out the door when they make John Bosley the bad guy, because he's an evil, angry old man who doesn't like the fact that he got pushed out of the organization he built. But he didn't. It was all the women that propped him up. God damn it. It really is sad that we just have to keep talking about how these new reboots shit on old characters. Right, Terminator Dark Fate? And again, I'm not that big on the original Charlie's Angels, but even I know that if you're going to write a sequel to these movies, probably not piss all over this. It would have been better if it just turned out he was going on retirement and focused on Elizabeth Banks just trying to run the organization, not realizing, all the ins and outs of it. Maybe going back to an old mentor for some advice here and there. Kind of like the Star Trek reboot approach, where they had Leonard Nimoy come on the Skype call every now and then. But no, they made an evil old man who just was not happy with how he was treated, and the fact that these damned women are so much better than him. It's so forced over the top. I hate talking about these types of movies. Can you tell? So let's just get way past all of the political bullshit writing and the dumb marketing and all that shit. Let's just throw that out for a second and just look at the technical side. Let's look at what this movie is as a movie. And the biggest thing you're going to notice is that the action in this movie is pretty substandard and subpar. I don't know if it was the directing or the editing or if the actors can't do all of the stunts that they were supposed to be required to do, but all of the action, other than one fight scene near the end of this movie where they finally do beat said, super male assassin guy, all of it comes off as very stilted, slow, and as if the actors couldn't perform these stunts. Hell, a lot of these shots, I'm not sure that the actors even touched each other. I don't even think for a second that Kristen Stewart was actually punching a guy in the face. Half of this movie was like that. It feels like everything just has way too many cuts, and they've got too many close-up shots doing medium torso up shots rather than letting it, full body wide so we can see the choreography. If the choreography was never there, why did you make this an action movie? Oh, but the fist fighting aren't the only thing that's bad. Let's talk about the gunplay, because all of these super assassins and spies can't hit the broadside of a barn with a 9mm, even if they're 10 feet in front of you. There are so many shots where they try to emphasize how good of a shot these girls are, but they keep missing shit. Like, whenever there's actual gunfire going on, they can't hit any of the bad guys, even though it's a freaking shooting gallery. You've got the high ground, they're down there, you've already taken out their upward coverage, just mow them down. Oh, but Charlie despises killing. Then why are they in a freaking spy ring? Now, admittedly, Naomi Scott's character isn't supposed to have any fighting training, so when she's having trouble and they do some of these slower, disjointed fights, it kind of works, but you can also tell that for part of it, it is the editing and the direction. It just doesn't feel like it's competent enough, but at least the circumstances of the writing, mirror what we're supposed to be seeing. But when Kristen Stewart and Ella Blaniska, God damn it, I can't pronounce names worth shit. But when those two characters are supposed to be getting in the fights, and they keep doing all of these overly long cuts where it feels like they're missing frames, or they're just, they'll take a shot where they go like this, and then they'll cut to the guy and go, ugh. And you don't ever see the connect there at all. I don't believe that they actually hit him. I don't even think that they were in the same general area. They might have been just CGI'd together. I don't know. And really, if the fist fights and gunplay aren't there, are there any action set pieces to, distract you? Not really. The most we get is a blown up car. Occasionally they try to play that whole, self-aware anticlimax thing. It only really worked once at the end when Kristen Stewart, punched Patrick Stewart in the face in the middle of Elizabeth Banks' speech. Kind of the anticlimax, well, I just want to do that. It's like, I was in the middle of gloating, come on. But other than that, there's no real set pieces. The action's slow, bogged down. The writing is repetitive and it beats you over the head with its message. And the plot itself isn't even anything special. Oh no, they developed this new technology that can be weaponized and turned into little mini EMP bombs that could kill people. Okay. Silent assassinations. Only if people buy this thing. I mean, granted, it's a portable power source that can apparently integrate with an entire building through magic, because that's not how science works at all, but okay. But then you get the standard, double-cross evil agent stuff, and they keep setting it up as if it's going to be Elizabeth Banks that's the bad guy here, as she does very suspicious things. She's meeting with people and giving out locations to random cars in the street that come out of nowhere. She's tracking John Bosley. And again, the framing of everything makes it seem like Elizabeth Banks is the bad guy. But then it just turns out to be John Bosley at the end because it's a cheat to the audience. Because the only scenes that we've seen with him all suggest that John Bosley is on the up and up throughout the whole thing. Even when he's looking at the, for the tracer in his watch, and he finds the nano machine tracker things straight from Kingsman in his back, because, why not? Again, framing all says Elizabeth Banks is the bad guy. But plot twist, no, now John Bosley's the bad guy, and once he's revealed to be the bad guy, Patrick Stewart acts completely different than he did in the rest of the film. Like, it comes straight out of nowhere. It's like the Frozen twist with Hans, because every single other shot, they do those little wink and nod moments where it genuinely seems like he's a good character, and then he'll turn he's a bad guy at the end because it would be a twist. It's a cheat. And it's proof that you didn't actually write a real twist or a real bad guy at all. You wrote a political message about old, curmudgeon white men. I hope you're so proud of yourself. Now, with all of that said, it probably sounds like this is going to be on my worst list, and while I think it might be a contender, I don't think it's going to make the list. I've seen far worse films than this. Both worse written, worse directed, worse acted. I've seen far worse than this. This movie's biggest problem is that it's boring. with it constantly beating its message into your head and the lackluster action, it felt like 2 hours of nothing. It felt like a 2 hour goddamn PSA. And I'm sorry, PSAs are only about 4 or 5 minutes long because they're boring. Unless you get those PSAs where they decide to kill somebody randomly in a horrifyingly shocking, realistic way. The fact that there's more than one of those really does say a lot. But yeah, it's boring, it's pointless. So my personal final verdict on this gets a solid skip it. There's no reason to watch this. I could even recommend the 2000s version of Charlie's Angels over this. For all of the shits that movie did not give, and it did not give a shit, I can still say that at least it had some entertainment inside of it. I honestly remember one scene in particular where Bill Murray gets captured and he forms a gun out of chewing on ice and snow. That visually just stuck in my mind and is absolutely hilarious. But even this, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that, Don't Be an Angel is the big pop hit for this, because everyone agrees that the song is boring, stupid, counterproductive, and ultimately not really any fun to listen to. This is pretty much the movie equivalent of that. So yeah, skip it. And that's it from me. Did you enjoy Charlie's Angels? Any of them? Leave it in the comments down below. Let's get some healthy discussion going. And I emphasize the word healthy, because I'm going to ban people who try to instinctively troll the comment section on this one, at least for a while, because no, if you're just going to sit there and throw toxic shit, this film's too feminist, it's too anti-man, and all that crap, you can go fuck off. Let's actually have real conversations, not the Twitter arguments that make movies like this. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. All of those help this channel grow, and hopefully one day I'll actually start making money doing this. Maybe one day. Also, if you want more content from me, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you can know when I go live, when I stream. Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I don't know what it is in other people's time zones, so, figure that out. And yeah, that's it for me, so I guess I'm going to get back to Pokemon and see you all next time.